All right, so today we are going to talk through how to do graphing practice. So this is the assignment that you should see on your Google Classroom. And there were some instructions that I'm not going to read through for you. I'm just going to talk through the actual problem sets that you need to have. So you should have open right now on your computer the graphing practice worksheet as well as the graphing practice Google Sheets. So you need the sheet as well as the data table. So you'll need both for this, and you'll need to be able to flip back and forth. So you're going to create different types of graphs based on the data and the information. So for the first data, we have in science, we grew bacteria in a petri dish. You're going to use the data table below to create a graph. So for our first column, we have on our data table the days. So we have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. And then for the bacteria colonies, we have 0, 12, 27, 56, 110, 265, and 518. So again, we need to remember our X and our Y variables. So we have dependent and independent. Dependent is what we're controlling, and independent is what we're controlling, and our dependent is what we're measuring. So what we're controlling and what we're looking at is the number of days, and the bacteria colonies is what we are measuring. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take that information and we are going to go to our graph for our sheets. So we're going to start at our A column, and that was days. And our B column is number of bacteria colonies. Doesn't matter that it doesn't fit. If you want, you can stretch it. So for our days, we're going to start at the top. We have 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 10, and 12. And I'm just using my arrow keys to enter down, or you can enter. And then for number of bacteria, 0, 12, 27, 56, 110, 265, 518. Perfect. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to click here or up here, doesn't matter, and you're going to click this little square. You can tell that I have a little cursor and it's the shape of an X. I was going to point to my screen, you won't be able to see it. Click and drag. Nope, come on. I want to click. Oops. Drag over. No, come on. It's going to be a pain. It does want to click and drag. You're going to click Shift and select all your data. So again, if the click and drag method's not working, hitting my Shift key, right arrow, and then down to select all your data. Either way works perfectly the same. You're going to click Insert, Chart. It's going to do some magic. My internet might be slow. Perfect. There's my chart. I'm going to move it down a little bit so I can see it better. Here are some things I'm going to check. I want to make sure my independent variable, the thing I'm changing, days, is across the top or across the bottom. Perfect. Number of bacteria colonies. Great. I want to change our title. So I double clicked it and this thing called Chart Editor popped up. So I can change the chart title, and in the text it says number of bacteria versus days. I'm just going to highlight it and change it, and I'm going to say how much or I'm going to say bacteria growth in, and we're going to pick, since it didn't say where the Petri dish was, or where the sample was from, you can just say in a Petri dish, or whatever title that you want. This is also the place that if you wanted to change the color, if you wanted to make it fun looking, if you wanted to make it bold, if you wanted to do whatever, I don't care. I would just make it easy to read. The legend is going to be just if there's this, the lines, and spacing, horizontal axis down here, vertical axis here. If you want to make those bigger or smaller, I wouldn't worry about that. Grid lines, again, if you want to change them, if you want to change the color, you don't have to. I wouldn't. For some reason, if you wanted to change the style, so if you wanted to change what kind of chart you have, you would go to Setup, and you would go to Dots, which is called a scatter chart. You can make it filled in, which is an area chart. You can do a column or a bar graph. Make it look like this again. All of these different types of charts are for different kinds of data. We are not going to use most of these. For this type of data, you should have read the instructions and know what type of chart this is. So we are going to leave this alone. I'm going to move it over. I'm going to scroll down a little bit here. I'm going to go back to my graphing practice, and there's two questions that I need to answer here. After looking at the graph, what can you tell about the growth of bacteria over time? So if I look at my graph, over time, what's happening to that bacteria? Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? Is it staying the same? What's happening to it? Well, it starts at 0, it goes above 400, 500. So I would say that after looking at the graph, I can tell that it is increasing over time. And then what would I expect to happen at day 20? Well, day 12 is 500 and day 10 was 265. I would expect it to be probably over 1,000 bacteria colonies. This is just an educated guess as a hypothesis. As long as it's above a number of 500, you're going to be good to go. I'm going to erase these two answers now because this is our template and I don't want to leave the answers up for anyone who still hasn't done this. All right, we're going to do our data set 2. So this is like a survey. So this says you've conducted a survey about what kind of animals do people have. You guys are actually going to be collecting data in my science class, and you're going to be making a survey on Google Forms, sending it out to classmates and staff, and you're going to be making a graph based on the data. So we have types of pets. So this is practice for that. And then number of pets. Or not number of pets, I'm sorry. Number of people with dog, cat, fish, bird, none of none of the above, and then we have more than one. In our survey, 20 people had dogs, 15 had cats, 7 people had fishes, 2 people had birds, 5 people didn't have a pet, and 17 people had more than one type of pet. I'm going to make this guy a little wider just so we can see all the letters. Again, shift to the right and down just so I can select all that data. I think it has something to do with the fact that I have controls to show, like I have the hand and the highlighter, and I can write on my screen. I'm going to go insert again, a chart. All right, so this automatically gave me this line chart. I'm going to move it down here. This doesn't really help me because I don't really, it doesn't really help me. So what I would do is I would go in here, and instead of a line chart, I want a pie chart because I want to know the percentage of people. So I'm going to change the title as well, number of people with pets. I'm going to say percentage with pets. And this is more powerful because it shows you, when you hover over it, how many people you have in each group. So if I hover over more than one, it says 17, and it gives me that nice little percentage. I can also, when I edit this chart, I can say that I want the pie chart. I can customize it. I can change the color border. I can do different colors. So if I have somebody that I know is colorblind, or that these two similar shades are too close, that happens a lot, you can change this. So it's really easy to tell the difference between the shades. There's no real access because you don't have an X and Y. All right, so that is going to be our pie chart. And I just kind of want to move it out of the way. We're going to go back to graphing practice. And then this is a movie theater wanted to see how many ticket sales they had in different days of the week. Please make a graph to show this data. So we're going to have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So we have all different days of the week. 50, 75, 28, 80, 127, 155, 215. We're going to go back to our graphing, and you don't need to do different sheets. You don't need to do different files. They can all stay on one. Again, we're going to do day of the week. I could type, and then we're going to do number of tickets sold. Oops, I wrote solid. My bad. Typing is getting difficult. All right. So we have Monday, 50. I don't know if this will work. Perfect. So one trick that I have in Excel or Google Sheets is if you have something that's a pattern, like numbers that go in sequential order, or days of the week or months of the year, you can click on this little square and drag it down. So I have 7 days of the week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And they auto-populate. I'm going to just get rid of this Monday because we don't need it 2 Mondays. So we don't got to type it in. It's a quick little shortcut for you. You don't need to use it, but quick little shortcut. 75, 28, 80, 127, 155, and 215. All right, I'm going to highlight. Oh, now it works. Insert again, a chart. Again, it gives me a line graph. I don't really like the line graph. Not for this one. I'm going to use a bar chart or a column chart. I like this better because I want to see the differences separately per group. I'm going to change the title. I don't like number of tickets sold versus days of the week. So I'm going to say tickets sold each day. And then this way you can see each of the days of the week a little bit easier. You can say day of the week, number of tickets sold. Super easy to do. So again, once you edit and you add in your font, or once you add in your chart, if you want to edit or change anything. So let's say I went to the top and I wanted to change it, double click to highlight it, and it pops up this chart editor. Setup will change your chart type. You don't need to worry about anything here. The one thing I can suggest that will make it easier for you is in the data tables that I give you where it says day and ticket sales, always type those in to your Google Sheet. So days and number of bacteria columns. Also highlight them when you include your data because then those will populate as your axis. If you don't, you'll have to type those in manually. Not a huge deal, makes it a little bit easier on yourself. Again, if you don't watch this video on how to do graphing, you'll be okay because I've typed out the instructions for you in your Google Classroom. In Google Classroom, I hope that I have it pulled up for you. Yeah. So in how to graph, I have how to graph info, where this just takes you through the steps for what you need to do. So this is what I just went through, and I explain the different types of graphs. When you'd use a bar graph, when you'd use a line graph, when you'd use a pie chart. I explain what I just talked through and showed you, and then I showed you what it'll look like, what pictures you should expect, what it should look like. So here's your data table, here's what it looks like in Excel, and then, Google Sheets, and here's what your chart should look like as well, right here. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, text me, call me. I'd be happy to work through this with you. I have lots of confidence. Please answer the questions that go along with the graphs. I think there's only 1 or 2 per graph, not a huge deal. These are due on Monday, I believe. So if you have questions, please let me know. Don't save them for Monday. I believe your TED Talks are due today. So let me know if I can do anything to help you. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.